Famed for being the birthplace of the Renaissance, Florence is a city brimming with iconic landmarks and renowned masterpieces. However, beneath its famous facade lie countless hidden gems. From lush gardens and local markets to the world's oldest apothecary and ancient armoury, you could spend an entire lifetime in Florence and still find something new to marvel at. After visiting almost every corner of this vibrant city and creating a mini-series of 10 episodes,
this is exactly my kind of window shopping.
Here are our top 10 hidden gems of Florence, with a seasonal bonus at the end. Subscribe to travel with us through all 20 regions of Italy. Kicking off our list is the Bardini Garden and Villa, nestled upon the southern bank of the Arno River. On a hill overlooking the city sits the Bardini Garden and Villa, being an excellent example of an Italian Renaissance garden with its lush greenery and panoramic views. The garden and villa take visitors on a unique journey through art, history, and nature.
I feel like we're just getting lost in a maze of greenery. It doesn't even feel like you're in the city at all. Serene, I think, actually is the perfect word to describe it.
Overshadowed by its bigger brother, the Boboli Gardens, this smaller garden houses various plant and flower species that are in full bloom around springtime. Camellias in bloom in March, the azaleas and rhododendrons in bloom in April, the roses in May, and the hydrangeas from June onwards, with its showstopper being the Wisteria Floral Tunnel. The Bardini Villa was originally constructed in 1641 and now holds 60 rooms that are home to numerous museums and exhibition spaces, as well as a terrace with stunning views over the city.
It's like an outdoor art museum. It feels like the Duomo's just a stone's throw away. It's incredible.
Number 2. The Apothecary Workshop and Pharmacy of Santa Maria Novella. Around the corner from the Basilica of Santa Maria Novella, you will stumble across what is known for being the world's oldest apothecary still in operation. Essentially the world's first pharmacy. Free to enter and housed in a stunning building with vaulted ceilings, frescoes, and ornate gilding in stucco. Active without interruption for almost 4 centuries, it is one of the oldest shops in the world where products are still prepared according to ancient recipes. Today, the pharmacy is a luxury store selling handmade products, with the oldest fragrance, Acqua della Regina, the water of the Queen, dating back to 1533.
Does that smell like home? Ooh.
Along with numerous fragrant goods for sale, there's also a small museum where you can view antique pharmaceutical machines, instruments, and pottery. I was expecting like a room or two and like a shop. This place is an entire convent, like it just wraps around. We're in the museum now. I think the shop's in the middle. They got a courtyard, so much bigger than I was expecting. These little essences that they make the perfume with.
That was an experience all on its own. Never thought going to a pharmacy would be that exciting ever in my life, and it smelled amazing in there. It is so beautifully decorated. It almost looks like a palace in a way, or like a palazzo that you would go see here. The ceilings, the paintings, everything in there is just absolutely gorgeous. This is honestly probably one of my favorite things now in the city.
Number 3. The Sant'Ambrogio Market. As everybody flocks to the popular Mercato Centrale, the central market, heading to the other side of the city and tucked away near the center, brings you to another bustling local market with lively stalls and passionate merchants. This is the Sant'Ambrogio Market, the oldest market in Florence. Here, local vendors proudly display their array of fresh seasonal fruits and vegetables, alluring cheeses, fragrant herbs, handcrafted pasta, and delectable meats that showcase the rich gastronomic heritage of Tuscany. Along with its vibrant atmosphere, there is a diverse range of other products, from artisanal crafts and clothing to vintage treasures and antiques.
Do you want a purse?
I don't need a purse today. I want to get a little leather backpack though, so I can fit right in.
Oh, that would look so fabulous on you.
This thing takes film.
That's so cool.
No ways. Nice little morning activity.
There is also a restaurant and a few cafes where you can get your morning coffee as you indulge in delicious, freshly baked pastries.
So That's honestly even better than I remember. It almost tastes like a custard as well, almost like a rice custard. It is like the perfect amount of crunchiness on the outside and moist deliciousness on the inside.
Oh, that is good. Oh, that's delicious.
Number 4. The Church and Museum of Orsanmichele. Located around the corner from Piazza della Repubblica, you will come across an eccentric-looking 3-story building with 14 different external niches, each housing a statue of a patron saint commissioned by Florence's guilds. This is the Church and Museum of Orsanmichele. Orsanmichele is a well-preserved and important 15th century Florentine church that was once the city's central grain market. So this was built as a loggia, so it has the same shape as the Gothic loggia that was built a couple hundred years ago. That's why there's a random altar there in the corner that's off center, because these pillars were here for another purpose and not to create a church. And so when they transformed it, that obviously had to fit to the side and not in the middle. Its interior is known for its elaborate frescoes from the medieval era. Created by the best artists of the time, including Donatello, Brunelleschi and Ghiberti, the exterior sculptures are now copies, with the well-preserved originals in the museum on the top floor of the church, except for St. George, he's in the Bargello, along with a more central panoramic view of the city.
Oh, hey, look. There's Piazza Repubblica.
Yeah, when you get to the 3rd floor, you get a view of the Duomo and everything else around it, because this building is taller than most of the rooftops. You can imagine all the rich people back in the day got to live higher up and got to look over the city. There's a wild ceiling in here. Number 5. CLET Studio. Something unusual you will find when roaming the Florentine streets are street signs with a comical twist. These are the results of a French artist, CLET Abraham. He moved here in 2005 to Florence, and he is the man that is transforming the street signs here in the city. Beginning in 2011 within the historical center of Florence, he began redirecting traffic signs in order to create unique works of art with bright colors and a hint of humor. This is his studio. Operating from within his studio in the Oltrarno, the other side of the river, he began turning the signs into works of art that engage in topics of current debate, human rights, freedom, and dignity of all men. Of course, this didn't come without his fair share of legal issues, especially his work installed on the Ponte alle Grazie without permission. This sculpture, representing the common man, is of a figure who steps into the future with faith and courage, which happened to be removed a few times from the bridge. However, it eventually returned to its original location, as it seemed the municipal authorities finally understood the importance of this work of art for all the Florentines. From his shop, you can buy stickers, signs, and other whimsical products of his making. Visit his shop on the way up to Piazzale Michelangelo. Number 6. The Archaeological Museum of Florence. Taking a break from the Renaissance era and rewinding the clock back a couple of centuries places us at the Archaeological Museum of Florence. Inaugurated by King Vittorio Emanuele in 1870, it is one of the oldest archaeological museums in Italy. Visitors are greeted with an unexpected collection of Etruscan, Greek, and Roman artifacts, as well as the second largest Egyptian collection in Italy, along with a few other sections. The museum's most famous piece is the Arezzo Chimera, a bronze hybrid figure of a mythical lion, goat, serpent, dating back to the 4th century BC, but only discovered in the 16th century. The museum also has a vast collection of pottery, funerary urns, and gemstones. And a little travel tip: with your Uffizi ticket you get free access to the Archaeological Museum here in Florence, and just a heads up, it is a lot bigger than you think it is. Bring your ticket with you after you visit Uffizi, and it is valid for 5 days from the time you actually visit to the Uffizi Museum. It is definitely worth a visit if you have some time to spare, as the stuff in there is absolutely incredible. I've never seen that stuff in my entire existence. Number 7. The Sacred Doors Cemetery of the Church of San Miniato al Monte. Making our way up the hill overlooking Florence, through Piazzale Michelangelo, brings us to the Church of San Miniato al Monte. While this 1,000-year-old basilican church is one of the best preserved Romanesque churches in Europe, today's journey is going to take us past the breathtaking views in front of the church, and instead, around the back. Laid out in 1848 and sitting within the church's defensive walls, you will find what is possibly one of the most stunning cemeteries in Italy, the Sacred Doors Cemetery. This ancient graveyard is unique on its own, layered with beautiful funeral art, memorials, private temples and tombs in varying architectural styles, from Renaissance to Art Deco. Here, laid to rest, is where you'll also find Carlo Collodi Lorenzini, the creator of Pinocchio, as well as numerous other politicians, painters, film producers, stylists, and other important people who have left their mark on the world.
This might sound kind of bizarre, but walking through some of these aisles or rows, it almost feels like you're in a neighborhood. Small houses all right next to each other, as if there could be people living in there, they're neighbors with each other. I know that might sound kind of weird, but it almost makes it feel like there is life in this cemetery, if that makes sense. Like these people are just resting inside, and they're all living on this beautiful street. The cemetery really makes me feel that beautiful idea of, afterlife and Christianity and things like that. It really does feel like such a peaceful, beautiful place, that even in death, there is life.
Number 8. The Santa Croce Leather School. If you've been fortunate enough to visit Florence, then you may have noticed the extraordinary amount of leather goods being sold around the city. This is because Italy has produced leather since the year 1000, when it was brought to Palermo by the Saracens, with Florence being perfectly located geographically to support a robust leather-making industry. Over time, Florentine craftsmanship became well known throughout Europe and the world by being an important source of high-quality leather. Italian leather style was furthered by Guccio Gucci when he opened the House of Gucci in 1921, and by Salvatore Ferragamo, who started producing his famous shoes in Florence in the 1930s. Both fashion houses now have museums and shops in the center of the city. Scuola del Cuoio, the School of Leather, was founded in Santa Croce after World War II, with the mission to give orphans of the war a means to learn a practical trade in order to earn a living. In May 1950, due to the growing demand for fine, high-quality, handcrafted products, they opened their doors to more clients. The top customers were originally from the United States, and there was even a personal order from General Eisenhower when he became president. Over the decades, the leather school has welcomed many internationally renowned visitors. And Neil Patrick Harris, Will Smith, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh geez, these are all the famous people.
Rob Schneider.
George Lopez, Madeleine Albright, Barbara Bush, Lady Diana and Prince Charles. That's crazy. They're at like the desk that we're at inside. Ted Kennedy. Is that PJ too? Hey, Jared Padalecki, I love him. William H. Macy. That's Ozzy Osbourne, that's sick. Didn't expect to see Rob Schneider on this wall.
You get the gist. Today, the school is still committed to the great tradition of quality products and personal customer service, which has allowed Scuola del Cuoio to establish a refined clientele worldwide. Along with your typical leather products, you can find hand-stitched, one-of-a-kind pieces that are made from soft deerskin or exotic pelts such as crocodile, ostrich, and python, and feature bright color combinations with decorative closures including baubles of silver, gold, semi-precious stones, and other rare materials such as fossils, quartz, and amber. With a free entrance to their school behind Santa Croce, you are able to watch the leather product making process, purchase high quality leather goods,
Yeah.
woman's jacket, and even get them personalized. Do you know what you're putting on?
Yes, my initials. How exciting. Oh, that looks so cool. It looks so good. Grazie mille. Ciao. I absolutely love how this turned out. Genuine leather, free customization, and it comes in this beautiful little velvet bag. That is an excellent €10 souvenir.
Number 9. The Medici chapels and Michelangelo's new sacristy. Located within one of the most significant Renaissance churches in Florence, you will find the Medici chapels of San Lorenzo. The Chapel of the Princes is a gigantic, octagonal room topped by the Dome of San Lorenzo, which was built using similar techniques to Brunelleschi's dome atop the Duomo. Having been a state museum in Florence since 1869, this stunning room was originally built as the burial place of the Medici family, including the Grand Dukes of Tuscany and their relatives. Built after the Renaissance at a time when Baroque art and architecture were sweeping across Europe, the frescoed ceiling is covered with Baroque-style paintings that are a lot more extravagant and lively than expected, along with its decorated and embellished walls. The statues of the Grand Dukes should have entered the niches, but the sarcophagi are actually empty, and the real remains of the Grand Dukes and their families are kept in simple rooms hidden behind the walls, in the Buontalenti crypt. It's hard to convey just how grandiose and ornate this chapel is. One has to see it in person. Adjacent to the massive chapel, you will find Michelangelo's new sacristy. Designed and built by Michelangelo, it houses the tombs of Giuliano and Lorenzo de' Medici, and is a Renaissance-style chamber added to the basilica and adorned with marble sculptures. Not only is this smaller dome one of his greatest works of architecture, modeled after the Pantheon in Rome, but the room also contains 4 of his most noteworthy sculptures. The museum also houses a part of the treasury of the basilica. Number 10. The Bargello Museum. Established in 1865, it is time to enter the first national museum of a unified Italy. Housed within a magnificent medieval palace and one of the oldest buildings in Florence, the Bargello Museum is the Uffizi Gallery of Sculpture. Here you will find some of the most important collections of Renaissance sculptures and masterpieces. The museum houses works by Michelangelo, Giambologna, Cellini, and many other artists, as well as featuring a Donatello room, which is home to his most famous works. Over time, the museum was enriched with vast collections of bronzes, ceramics, waxes, enamels, metals, seals, ivories, amber, tapestries, furniture, and textiles from the Medici collections, as well as the oldest known portrait of Dante Alighieri, Islamic art, and an incredible room displaying arms and armor that survived the dispersion of the Medici armoury. The Bargello's armoury room is by far one of the coolest rooms I've been into in Florence. And if you play Skyrim, this is like a super cool place to visit because all the weapons that you can actually get in Skyrim. It's really fascinating. The huge spear has 2 barrels on either side. That's the helmet of video games. 9-barrel pistol musket. It's crazy. This was the armor of Prince Cosimo III. I'm guessing when he was younger, unless he never grew into a fully grown adult. You may also notice a few familiar pieces here, such as the Marzocco lion, the emblem of the city of Florence, whose replica sits in front of Palazzo Vecchio, or the original bronze tiles crafted by Brunelleschi and Ghiberti for the famous competition to design the doors of the Florence Baptistry, which Ghiberti won. A number of historical events took place here, and to mark the passing of time, the museum also houses an imposing bell, famous for playing only at the turn of each century. And now for our seasonal bonus. If you're a fan of the supreme poet and father of the Italian language, Dante Alighieri, and have already paid a visit to his house, museum, and church, and also found his other traces in Florence, such as his death mask in Palazzo Vecchio, his thinking rock and plaque next to the Duomo, or his presence at the Church of Santa Croce and the Bargello Museum, then it's time to step it up a notch. If you happen to be in Florence during a specific set of days and manage to fit into one of the rare weekend time slots available, then there is something truly unique to experience. Il treno di Dante, the Dante train. Hop on board an over 100-year-old historic low-speed train as it travels along a heritage railway line that was inaugurated in 1893. This unique train journey follows in the footsteps of Dante Alighieri from his birth in Florence to his death in Ravenna, and will take you through 6 beautiful villages along the Tuscan Romana Apennine Mountains, with the longest stop in either Faenza or Brisighella. The scenic journey begins with vineyards, olive groves and ancient farmhouses as far as the eye can see. Then it becomes woodland with chestnut and beech trees. And finally, the train descends through the rolling hills of Romana, which are dotted with farmland and orchards. The trip is absolutely breathtaking as you get the chance to experience the colors, fragrances, and scenery of the countryside before spending the afternoon in Ravenna, where you can follow the remainder of Dante's life and also visit his tomb. Stepping back in time, the train is a true gem for anybody wanting to relive the golden age of rail travel, as there are only a handful of trains like it left in Italy and only carry the public on special occasions.
The train conductor came around and told us that this door can actually be opened at any time during our journey. There are no modern systems in place to keep it shut, so we have to be careful. We seem to have come back to a new edition. We now have several more zip ties. And to lower the windows, we push this lever here, and you can slide the windows down. So you can definitely feel the age of this thing, but it's really cool.
The window just randomly closed itself. It shot up.
You have to pull the lever. Look at you, you little train conductor. There's a lot of warning signs. I feel like they had to tell you a bunch to be careful, because literally you could accidentally open this thing when the train is moving.
The ash is reflecting off the tunnel and coming in through the window. Okay, let's pray for no more tunnels. George, look at this.
I feel like we're getting the real olden day experience, because what is this, soot? Is this what you would call soot?
I don't actually know trains that well, but I know they're burning coal to make it go forward. So it shoots all the smoke in that out the top. However, when you go through a tunnel, that smoke just rounds the tunnel and comes straight in through our window. So the coal actually lands all over us and it gets super smoky. Now, no, not another tunnel.
I think I got the black lung, Pop. Fun fact about the toilet, there's no bowl. So that is the train track. It's probably a bad idea to put moisturizer on this morning, because now we are covered in soot. Is this what Santa feels like? Is it on me?
We have made it to Ravenna, the mosaic capital of Italy. Not gonna lie, that first class is very comfortable. The train journey is pretty smooth. I almost fell asleep a few times. 10 out of 10 for comfort. 11, maybe a 9 out of 10. Drop at a point because you might fall asleep on the journey.
Subscribe to follow the adventure and comment below and let us know what you would add to this list.
Don't forget, buy a speeder.